Would you like to have a greener yard, a healthier garden, or just help save planet? Then dig into composting and reap the benefits of producing your own rich soil. Composting can help us all by reducing the amount of trash that we put in our landfills, and is one of the key components of being green. It saves us money by not having to buy fertilizer, and is better for the environment. Now, I'm not a botanist, but I've used what I'm about to show you today several times, and my grass and my gardens both have benefited from it. This very simple method of creating compost is something that many people do not know about. Today I will show you the supplies you need and how to build a compost bin, as well as what to put in it. First, let's talk about the tools and materials needed to build a compost bin. There are just a few items that can be purchased from a hardware store if you don't already have them in your garage or shed. You'll need 10 feet of half-inch gap hardware cloth that is 36 inches wide. You'll also need some heavy wire to tie the ends. The tools that are needed are a pair of tin snips, a pair of pliers, and a pair of leather gloves. Use the tin snips to cut the hardware cloth at a length of 10 feet if it's not already. Safety first. When handling hardware cloth or tying wire, gloves should be worn. These are both puncture hazards. Now, according to the Mayo Clinic website, a puncture wound doesn't usually cause a lot of bleeding, but it's prone to infection. Proper medical care needs to be applied immediately, which includes cleaning, medicating, and dressing the wound. Call a doctor if there's any signs of infection or the bleeding cannot be controlled. Now that we talked about the tools and materials, now we're going to talk about building a wire mesh bin. It is fairly simple design and therefore easy to build. First, cut 4 heavy-duty wires into 6-inch lengths. Second, the ends of the hardware cloth will need to be trimmed with the tin snips to get rid of the tips that can poke. Third, shape the hardware cloth into a cylinder by curving the 10-foot length until it overlaps the opposite ends by 2 inches. Next, use the 6-inch lengths of heavy-duty wire to tie the ends together. The ties should wrap around both ends and go through the hardware cloth where both ends rest, and then twist it together, creating a strong tie. There should be 1 at each of the opening of the cylinder, and then 2 in the middle, evenly spaced. Finally, stand the cylinder on the end, and there's your compost bin. Now, according to the University of Missouri Extension website, a hardware cloth bin is inexpensive and easy to build. And because the hardware cloth does not require posts to stand up, it's easy to lift, which allows access to the finished compost at the bottom of the bin, while the compost on the top is still decomposing. Now that we've discussed the supplies and how to build a compost bin, let's talk about what to put in it to decompose. One of the materials is known as the browns, such as dead leaves, branches, and twigs, which provide carbon for the compost. Another material is the greens, like grass clippings along with fruits and vegetable scraps from the house, which give nitrogen needed in the process. Even eggshells and coffee grounds are considered green materials. The third material is water, which keeps it moist because the microorganisms that break down the greens and the browns need water. When these 3 items are combined, a natural process of decomposition occurs. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency website, a compost pile should contain equal parts of browns and greens, where water provides the moisture that is needed for decomposition to occur. The natural process is then enhanced and sped up in composting by providing optimal conditions and materials needed. In conclusion, you have the simple recipe to feed your lawn and garden. Building a compost bin and making compost is relatively easy. I've told you about the supplies you needed and the method to build a compost bin and what to put in it. Now let's get out there and save the planet and make it green.